Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I wanted to talk about a little something different, but I think it's important because I'm getting a ton of questions and just people that are going to be going through this. And so I thought, you know what? There is so much I wish I would have known before this all happened. So if I can help just one person who's going to be going through this, this is totally worth it. So this is all about, let me give you a little backstory. So Matt has had knee issues for a while. He broke his patella in high school, kept playing on it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so they told him when he finally got it looked at and everything that he would probably have early arthritis in his knee. So we knew that he had his knee scoped, I don't even know, 15 years ago, 12 years ago. And it has been, since cold plunging and having the sauna, it has been the best it's ever been. Like he could get on the bike, he could do, it's just been, well, I should say as I'm recording this, this has been a few months, but before all this happened, it has been the best it's been for him. So February of 2024, he is sitting on the floor in our living room and he gets up off the floor and he grabs his knee and he's like, I can't move my knee. I can't move my knee. Well, that has happened before where it kind of locks up on him and then he just has to move it and then it's fine. But the look in his face, and then he hobbled back to our bedroom and he's like, no, Linz, really, I can't move this. I cannot get it back. So complete panic. This was literally, it was the best it has been. And this was so out of the blue. It's not like he did anything weird. He literally just got up off the floor. Anyway, so we didn't know what to do. So we just went to his, normal doctor and said, this is what's happening. He thought maybe it was the meniscus, and so he was trying to, oh my gosh, he was trying to pull the leg and move the knee and try to get it. And it just was not budging. So Matt, essentially, I'm going to fast forward through this. So I'm not boring you. So essentially his knee at that point was completely straight. I mean, a few degrees under straight, and he couldn't bend it, couldn't straighten it more, he was stuck there. So that day we're like, you can't work like this. Can you drive like this? It's his left knee. We're like, what do we do? So they sent us down to get a knee brace, a $650 knee brace that we wore for maybe a couple of weeks. I'm like, what? We're going to keep that knee brace for anybody else that needs to use it because this was it was out of the blue. This happened. Like I said, everything was going great. And then this to be so bad. And so we did not know what we were doing at all. So we knew we had to see a surgeon. We knew we needed MRIs, but waiting for people to, get those things scheduled was a nightmare. We were on the phone every single day. And my first thing, if this is something that happens like this, you have to advocate for yourself and you have to keep calling because they'll put you at the bottom of the list and, we'll get your MRI. We couldn't do anything until we had an MRI. We needed x-ray. Well, the x-rays we got at the doctor's office, but the MRI we needed scheduled ASAP. He couldn't function. The way his leg was like that. So anyway, after a lot of calling, a lot of back and forth, I was trying to get into any appointment we could. We didn't care where it was, what it was. We finally, we said we had to go get crutches. He couldn't walk. I mean, it was such a nightmare. Anyway, so we went to a friend's house. She had crutches. They were too short, but it's all we could get our hands on. And she was talking about her husband, knows a surgeon, a good surgeon here, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, we got in with him. That was weeks later. So Matt was essentially, in that position. He was able to bend it, but still stuck for 7 weeks. And if you are somebody where you need knee surgery and this happens to you, I'm telling you right now, you need to get into physical therapy and get some sort of movement in, because the surgeon, he even got us in early for the surgery and everything, which was amazing. He was great to work with. But since Matt was, I don't even know what to say, tied up, or like, since his knee was like that, scar tissue and stuff started settling in for that 7 weeks like that. 2024 has not been good to us for so many reasons. And this was just like, we couldn't believe this. So I'm going to try and stay on track. Anyway, so for 7 weeks, he was just not moving it at all, and just stuck in a position. And, so if you are like that, you need to get into some physical therapy, something to get your knee in motion or something. You need some movement and stuff before your surgery. We didn't know this. We didn't know this at all. So we went in and had the surgery, and after Matt went in, the surgeon comes and talks to me, and he showed me pictures, which I was like, oh gosh. He showed me pictures of, there was a massive like bone fragment behind Matt's kneecap. So that was a huge like reason why he couldn't, maneuver the knee or move the knee, or so they had to get that out. Anyway, so he had the full knee replacement, and he just thought Matt was going to be, it was just going to be night and day. Like, he's going to wake up and, not wake up, but you know what I mean? Within a month, he was going to be good. Matt's mom has had her knees replaced, knee or knees, I don't know. My grandma's had their knees replaced. Like, I saw all these people like thriving after a knee replacement, right? So I thought this was the answer. He's never going to have knee problems again. This is going to be amazing. Oh my goodness. So first of all, let me tell you that if you are the caretaker of somebody going through this, you need to take care of yourself too. You definitely, all the medications that Matt takes no medication. We don't have any, I take a probiotic, prebiotic every morning, and collagen. That's pretty much it. But the amount of meds that he came home with, like, you need to make sure you have a schedule and write all this down. And I got one of those little plastic cups. I would tell anybody that, you can get them like at Dollar Tree, but they're the little plastic like condiment cups. Get those so that when you're counting out the pills, or you know what I mean? Like, it just helped me know, okay, he's taking this, so now the next dose, like what I need. But it's a lot. And if you know anybody going through this, and send them food, make a meal, and, take it to their house. Even if they tell you no, they're fine. Just take it, drop it off. You don't even, just knock on the door and go, or just say, I'm just going to set it on your front porch. There's so much. And I do answer all the questions because I've been sharing this whole journey on like Instagram stories. So if you follow me on Instagram, so if there's any particular questions you have or something, make sure you email me, Lindsay@mycreativedays.com, or reach out to me on Instagram @mycreativedays, because I would love to help you or just give you insight into what it looked like for us. Because we were so lost. Like I said, this wasn't something that was planned for weeks and weeks, or you know what I mean? Months or months. No, this happened, it locked up, and then it was just like survival mode from then on out. Like, what do we do? I don't know how to do this, how to maneuver this. And I know I'm going to like miss a lot of things in here. So just let me know if there's something else I can answer or, but anyway, so like one thing I shared on Instagram were the certain ice packs that we got. He was trying to make ice packs and wrap the knee, and it was just a nightmare. And then I found these ice packs that worked so well, actually formed to his knee. Like they were just so much better. So it's just things like that I wish I had known, before we went in. So anyway, so we go on, we had a vacation planned, and it was already paid for, before he had all this happened, of course, right? And so we're going on vacation, and I'm thinking he's in the middle of PT. Well, right before this, you guys, it was so bad. He was not making any progress. Like, he could get to a certain degree of, 120 is the goal that you can bend your knee to. But Matt's like, I want it to be 130, 135. Like, he's a healthy, active, male. Like, he was like 120. Okay, that's great. Yes, I want to get there, but then I want to go beyond that. He was not getting there at all. Even in PT, like, it would be towards the end there, it was like, oh, we got you to 120. But then like the next morning he would try to get on the bike and stuff, and he couldn't do it. He had so much inflammation, and we were doing all the things. So they finally did put him on. Well, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. Anyway, so he's not making any the improvement, and he's not doing what he should be doing. And I'm like, we're getting to the point where a manipulation, if he has to have one, there's a certain amount of time, like you have to do it within these, weeks after surgery, or you're just, you can't do it. And so our week vacation was coming up, and I'm like, if we need to do this, I need to do this before vacation. Like, what a nightmare. The surgeon was like, yes, we're going to have to manipulate the knee. So he went in, they knock Matt out or whatever, and then they bend the knee for you. Like, they bend it. And he took pictures, just of the knee bend in the operating room. And he's like, this is what I got it to. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. Like, it looked like a normal knee bent down. You know what I mean? I mean, like, I was like, okay, this is it. Okay. We just needed the manipulation. This is going to be it. After that manipulation, you go back to like the multiple times a week of PT, right? So he was back to, I don't even know, 4 days a week instead of, he was wanting to go 3 days. Like, this guy was like, I have to keep going because I'm not making any progress. So you go back to multiple times a week after a manipulation because they need to keep that moving. Well, then we're going on vacation, and he's like, wait, you're driving? I don't know if I want you sitting. So we had to stop at every like rest area so Matt could get out and do his exercises. We had the dog with us. I mean, oh my gosh, that's a whole nother story. But then we get to where we're supposed to go. It's a new place. We walk in, and the smell and the bugs in this place, I was like, listen, 2024, I don't know what you're doing to me, but this, thank goodness we got a full refund, and we were able to find another place close. I don't know how that happened, but it all worked out. But anyway, so I thought, we're going on this vacation. He doesn't even want us driving the full 5 hours. Matt has to get out. I'm like, there's no way Matt can be without PT for a full week. So I looked to see, where his PT, I want to say brand, that's not right. Like, the PT company that he goes to had a branch or a building 50 minutes from where we were. And I'm like, Matt, you're going to have to do it. Like, the kids and I will just stay at the house. We can go to the beach, whatever. But you're going to have to drive the 50 minutes and still stay on PT. So during vacation, Matt was making the commute to get to PT. I mean, it was just a nightmare. So anyway, so the manipulation, we're like, this is going to be it. And they actually say you kind of go backwards with the manipulation. It's kind of like, he actually says, like, if you were to ask him now, he thinks that was worse than the surgery itself. So I wish I should have had him on here too. And if I get a bunch of feedback from this, I definitely, we can come on and do another podcast, and we could do like a Q&A. If you guys send in some questions and stuff, that would be, so then I know exactly what questions to answer. That would be a lot of fun, and I can have Matt with me. But anyway, so we get home from vacation, and it's just, weeks go by, and it's like, what is happening? Like, the dude, he can't bend it. He's, we're not, you go through the stage of a knee replacement where you're on a walker, then you're on, crutches, maybe, it depends. And then you're on a cane, and then you're on, and I'm thinking, are we going to have to go back to crutches? Like, what's going on? It just was so tough for him. So then he goes back, you have all your appointments, follow-up appointments or whatever. And Matt is just like, this just isn't working. I'm just not making progress. Well, since Matt, this is, the surgeon was like, you're very healthy, you're an active, you're young yet, most people that have this are not this young. And so he said, when you're sleeping at night, you're 8 hours of sleep, which Matt was not sleeping 8 hours at all. Neither one of us had slept for months because it's just, he was up all the time. He couldn't get comfortable. He was moving all the time. Anyway, so his body was trying to repair itself at night. And since it's not moving really, it just was like he wasn't able to make any progress. But there is this machine that we didn't know about where it actually, you have it in your bed at night, and it moves your leg, like it bends your leg, kind of like a bicycle, but you're laying down, if that makes sense. So you put your leg in it, and it just moves it like I'm doing this. If you guys saw this video, or if I had a video of this, I'm moving my arm the way it goes. But anyway, it's kind of like, it's really slow, and you can put it to like different degrees. Like, I want to get it to 120, whatever. And so then it moves like all night long, or 4 hours, or however long you want to put it on. That made a huge difference. And come to find out that some of where Matt works, some of the older like ladies that have come in, and Matt would get so frustrated when older people would come in. He has a pool where he works, and they would come in and they would, they would do their water aerobics or whatever, and they'd always stop and talk to Matt. How's the knee going? And they had all had knee replacements, and they were like, it's not like this. Really, it's not like this. Mine wasn't like this at all. But they would stay in the hospital for a night, and they would have this machine on them all night long. And it's like, what? I feel like everybody that has a knee replacement needs to have this. And maybe it's not like the first week or the first 4 weeks, or when you're healing and just trying to like get all your meds and get to the bathroom and try to get some food down you. You need that machine. That made the biggest difference for Matt. But then still the inflammation for Matt, it was like, his knee was just so big, and like you could see the inflammation, around the kneecap and kind of up on his thigh. And so they put him on some meds for the inflammation, and that worked wonders. So we don't want to be taking any kind of meds if we don't need them. So, but Matt, it's been a couple times since he's been on that. He wasn't feeling well a couple of times, and so he wasn't taking them. And instantly when he was off those, it was like we were back to, I would see him like going down the stairs or getting in the car, and I could tell. And he's like, yeah, it's tighter. It's just, it's stiff. And so these meds, he's still now. So let me just say, as I'm recording this in August. He had this done in March, and we are still on the inflammation meds. It's not 3 times a day. It's just twice a day right now. But if he goes, just a few weeks ago, he wasn't feeling great, so he wasn't taking them for a couple of days. And instantly it's night and day. So if you were to do this, your inflammation, it's huge. Like you can read all the stuff about inflammation. Like our bodies are full of it. We love our cold plunge. We love our sauna. Like we're trying to learn everything. Before all this happened, we're just trying to do the things that we know are good for us. And it's like inflammation, we know, is one of our bodies. Like it's just full of it. So to know that is, and to actually see it now, it's when you have inflammation in your body, or like, like his knee, just trying to get healed and better. It's unbelievable how, what do I want to say? How much it sets him back when he's got so much inflammation, because without these meds helping with the inflammation, he wouldn't be making the progress he is making. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. We have talked to, the PT, he's done doing PT. They were kind of like, you've got to 120 now on your own. And Matt would still be doing it today, but he religiously did all the stretches, did all the exercises. Even now, he can't fully bend down into the cold plunge, but he at least can get down to his waist, because he can't bend his knee fully to sit down like he was before this all happened. He's on the bike. He's able to lift weights kind of again. He lost a lot of weight and just like muscle mass through all this whole thing. So like just trying to get back to what he was. So many people are saying, it's not like this. It's not like this. It's been for March, April, May, June, July, August. We're on 5 months. And if somebody were to ask Matt today, and they do at his work, I'm supposed to get one. And he's like, you're still biking. You're still working out. You're still whatever. He's like, I wouldn't do it. Matt was stuck. His leg was stuck. He couldn't straighten it. He couldn't bend it. He couldn't walk on it. He couldn't and we knew he was going to have a knee replacement probably I shouldn't say sooner than later, earlier than most people would have a knee replacement. My gosh, we were not planning on anything this year because it was going so well. But we knew at some point he would probably have to have one. But so now when people are like, so should I do it? And, he sees them, they're still functioning well. Like, he's like, no, I would never do it. The PT and the surgeon are like, some people after a month, they are so good. They can see the change, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, some people it's a year. And they finally told him this is probably going to be a full year. And it's so crazy because, he is young and he is active and it's like, wait, what? if my mother at 60 or 70, his mom, can get her knee replaced and be good, she helped out at school. So she would, she worked during the school year. So she had her knee replacement during the summer, and then she was fine to go back to school. He's like, what? How am I not healing? So anyway, and every time we just ran into my old coach from years ago, and he had a boot on his foot. It was after church, and I said, oh, what'd you do? Blah, blah, blah. And then he said, and I said, oh, well, Matt, we're dealing with a knee replacement. We got it done in March. And he said, oh, I had that done last year. Same surgeon, which he's great. The surgeon's great. And he said, it took him, he said, literally a full year. It was this summer we ran into him, and it was like May would have been his year. And he said, literally just a few months ago, he said, I was going fishing, and he said, if my knee's going to do what it's supposed to do, I need to bend over this boat and, catch this fish or pull the fish out or whatever. And he said, my knee did it. So that gives us a little bit of hope and encouragement that, maybe in March of 2025, Matt will be like, yep, it was totally worth it. I'm going to be completely honest. It has been one of the hardest things we've gone through. And Matt's the type of person that, sometimes when people would come up to him and be like, oh, how are you doing? And he'll just be like, oh, fine. And I want to say, are you kidding me? Like, this guy is struggling. It's hard enough for the caretaker, or the person but I can't even imagine. This guy it's just been not fun at all. But there are certain things that, I would tell you to do right away. So number 1, ask about that machine in your bed. Number 2, the inflammation is the, biggest thing. You need to keep that down. So Matt, like I said, we found a better ice situation for his knee. He's been using now, we're 5 months out. So he's been using the massage gun. You have to do your exercises and all your stretches. Matt was to the point where I was like, maybe you're doing too much. You know what I mean? It's like you get those people like my dad, when he was healthier, if he were to have something like this done, he would never do the exercises outside of, and then he would get to the point where he would be like, I don't want to go to PT. Where then you've got Matt, where it's like, I need more PT appointments, and I'm going to do these 75 times a day. I'm exaggerating, but that just still wasn't helping. But you do have to do those exercises because you've got to keep the motion in that knee. There's a lot of things that, hopefully if you're going into this, your knee isn't locked. That was the other big thing that we learned. He should have been in PT before that all happened, because that would have probably made the biggest difference in his recovery. Eating with the pills that you're on, that was hard for Matt. They told Matt that would be hard. But so I was giving him, I was still doing the collagen. I was doing bone broth for him. I was trying to give him more protein, or not more protein, but as much protein as he could handle. He really didn't have an appetite for a long time, which was hard. It's like, Matt, you've got to, but they said with the meds he's on, that would be an issue, but that you have to kind of, you have to kind of force yourself. When they tell you need the cling wrap, you do. That was, sometimes you're like, okay, do I really need this? Is this going to really work? The cling wrap around your, the incision, it works wonders in the shower. So definitely get the cling wrap. You do need that. And then you will need, so like for us, we had to buy the $650 brace. We were desperate. We were like, what do we do? And then the crutches. So that's something else. He used those more before the surgery because he couldn't walk, than after the surgery. Then you will need a walker as well for like after surgery. You'll need a cane because you'll get to that point. This has just been a whirlwind. Like I said, 2024 for many reasons has not been good to us. We're looking forward to all of this passing, and hopefully by March of 2025, he is a lot better and this is totally worth it. But I just thought I would share this podcast. I get a lot of feedback, not only here, not through email, but on Instagram. And I just thought if this could help one person who's going to be going through this, who's going to be taking care of somebody going through this, I wish there was so much more that we knew before going into this that we would have done different. So I'm hoping this is helpful to somebody. Like I said, just one person. And like I said, we weren't planning on this. This was you have to get this done ASAP. He can't walk. He can't function. His knee is locked. So, I mean, that didn't help the whole situation. But if you have any questions, or if you'd like us to do a Q&A podcast, send in your questions. Matt would be happy to do it. But just specific questions would be helpful so we know exactly what to answer. But if you're going through this, or if somebody you know is going through this, just know that Matt's experience is not the norm. It's not the norm. Everybody we've heard from, it's not the norm. So, even my sister, she's a surgical technician, and she's been she doesn't work where we live. And so she's been talking to all of her, the doctors there, and they're like, oh my gosh. But then, she goes through he was locked 7 weeks before, and they're like, oh, well, that's going to make a big difference. And, and she's like, she's been in on knee replacements, and, she's like, it is not supposed to be like this. She's like, I just feel so bad for him, because she knows exactly what we've been going through. So it just has not been fun. So send in any questions if this was helpful. If this was helpful, and somebody gonna go through this, share this podcast with them. Like I said, if I can just help one person and maybe, give a little insight or a little tip that we learned or something to make their experience a little better, that's why I do what I do. No matter if it's this podcast about a knee replacement or, a project on my website, My Creative Days, that's why I do what I do. So until next time, I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you very soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm grateful that you tune in every week and that you share the show with your family and friends. I love having creative chit chats with you, and my hope is that this podcast will inspire you to try a new project, start a DIY that you've been putting off, and decorate your home exactly how you want it. There are a few ways you can help us with the podcast. Follow the podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you could take a few minutes to leave the podcast a review, that would help us so much. Again, thank you for being here, and I look forward to our chat next week. Bye-bye.